Do you ever look at a big scenic stamp and think, that's pretty, but what would I do with it? Today, I'm going to show you how just changing your ink or paper can totally transform one image. We're creating with the Peaceful View stamp. It's simple, peaceful, and perfect for any season. Hi Stampers, I'm Nancy Novak and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, if you follow along with me, you know that I'm just getting back into stamping because we have moved. So we closed up my old craft room about 6 months ago and my new craft room is done. So I'm getting back into doing my YouTube videos. And this stamp set was one of the first ones that I got out of the annual catalog. So I've been hanging on to it, of course, for about 6 months and haven't done anything with it. So I'm going to start right at the beginning using this stamp set, showing you how to mount it and using different papers, and then we're going to use different inks. Then we're going to create a card together, and then I'm going to show you a few other cards, give you some more ideas of what you can do with this great, versatile, beautiful stamp set. So I decided I would use the Splendid Autumn Designer Series paper. So it's 6x6 paper, and it comes in a big pack. You get 38 sheets. So you get 12 different designs. I'm going to show them to you really quick. They're double-sided. And of course, they're all autumn scenes. So I thought this paper would be beautiful to use with this Peaceful View stamp set. Okay, so I'm going to take my big stamp and put it on my big stamping block. And then I'm going to bring in Memento Black ink. And I have a piece of like clear plastic and I want to try something. So I'm going to ink this up with Memento Black ink, and then I'm going to stamp on that acrylic plastic, and I'll show you why. It kind of gives me an idea of what that stamped image would look like on different designer series paper. So I'm going to bring these in. This is just playing. This is just me playing. So see, this is really a really dark image. And when I saw this, I thought I would actually use the other side, save it, make some Christmas cards or Christmas tags with it, because that's really too dark. Same thing with this. Thought it was too dark, but the other side, let's see. Ooh, that's really, really pretty. So I'm going to do a card using that piece. Again, this is really dark, but the other side's a pretty cherry cobbler. I'm going to use that for probably Christmas cards. This I thought was just so, so pretty just as it is, and I may use this for my sunflower embossing folder. And then this one's kind of pretty on this side. I thought that'd make a pretty fall card. A little dark on this side, but it would work. So I may try it on both sides of this piece. And I'm sure that you can't see what I'm seeing using this little piece of plastic, but it's really pretty. Really pretty. So I can kind of get an idea if I were to stamp on this, what it would look like. So I'm kind of deciding which side of these I want to use. Okay, so that's all I was going to do with this plastic, is just hold it on a couple of different designer series paper and get an idea of what it would look like. But I have another idea that I want to show you, another way to use this stamp set. Okay, so I'm bringing in some of my sponge daubers. I have my big stamp here, and I think I'm going to stamp on this piece of designer series paper. So I'm going to bring in some garden green and pecan pie. And I'm just going to pick up some of this green with my sponge dauber, and I'm just going to color in all of the stuff on this stamp that I want to be green. And it's okay if I go over the branches a little bit, because I'm going to go back over it with the brown, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I think at the bottom here I'm going to do a darker green, or a different green. I'm going to try Mossy Meadow. Then I'm going to do some pecan pie on all the tree branches and the fence. Since this bottom piece is kind of a straight piece, I'm going to actually take the Mossy Meadow and just kind of drag it across to get some really good color on there. And I think I'm going to do the same up here at the top. So it does better if you daub it rather than roll it or smear it. Ooh, turned out really, really pretty. I was a little worried there, I have to admit. Okay, I think for that little bird, I'm going to color him in with a marker. Just have to find my markers in my room and make him either blue or red. Okay, so I did find one of my markers. It's Strawberry Slush. I'm going to color the bird in. Okay, I am going to cut this down and layer it on another piece of cardstock so you can see what it would look like. So that's just sponge daubing. And when I was doing it, I do have to admit, I was not positive it was going to turn out as pretty as this. So let me trim this down and put it on a piece of cardstock and let's see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little greeting to this. All I did was attach it to a piece of Very Vanilla, but it needs something right here. Loveliest Tree Stamps. I'm going to do that in Pecan Pie. I'm going to stamp right in the center of my card. So let's hope I do a good job. Oh, very pretty. So that's another way you can use the giant stamp, is just use your sponge daubers to get the different colors that you want. Don't give up. Like I said, I was not too sure when I was doing it, but I do like the way it turned out. So I am just showing you a couple ways to use the stamp. We haven't made our card for the night yet, so hang on. That'll be coming shortly. Okay, I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to use this side and I'm going to do a tone on tone. Probably going to use this one too. We're going to look at both of them. So I'm going to ink it up in Azure Afternoon. Let me get the other one out too. The other one looks like that. Okay, we're going to do the tone on tone first. I'm applying a lot of pressure here. Could use your Stamparatus if you have a Stamparatus. I have one, but I wanted to show you if you don't have one. Oh, that's really pretty. Okay, so now let's do one on the opposite side of that designer series paper. And I'm going to ink it up in a green. I'm either going to do Garden Green or Mossy Meadow and see what it looks like. This is Mossy Meadow. I kind of like that. Just have to trim it down. Okay, so this one is Azure Blue on the Azure Blue Designer Series paper. And then the flip side, I did Mossy Meadow. So I'm going to be trimming all of these down and putting them on card bases and show you how pretty they are. But for now, we're going to keep on going. Okay, I have one more thing I want to try before we get to making our card for tonight. I'm going to try heat embossing in clear. So I'm just going to put this on my designer series paper. This is the one I'm using. It's this one here, the opposite side. So I'm going to bring in Versamark. I'm going to stamp it on this pretty piece. Clear embossing powder. I love this little tool. Keeps all of the embossing powder in one spot. It has a nice little edge on it so it doesn't go all over. And then when you are done, you can just put it back in your little jar. Okay, I'm going to heat this up and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, well, guess what? I like it. So I am going to put these three things that we stamped together on card bases, and then I'll come back and show you what they look like really quick, and then we're going to make a card. Okay, so let's look at the card. So here's the first one that we did, and this was using the sponge daubers, and we just put it on a piece of very vanilla cardstock. And then here is the one that we did tone on tone with the azure blue. So I used the everyday arches, and then I added a little color with the happy birthday and the bird. And then here is the one that we stamped right on the designer series paper. And then here is the one that we did with Versamark. So it's real shiny. And I made this one into a sympathy card. Okay, so there are the four ideas that we did. And now we're going to do one more, and we're going to do that card together. So let me put this off to the side. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take Memento black ink, and I'm going to ink up our stamp, and I'm going to stamp it right on basic white. Then I'm going to take our cardstock. I'm actually just going to lay it right on top first. Kind of give it a little push there. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. That way I can give it really good pressure. So this piece is bigger than I need. There it is. So I had it bigger, so now I can cut it down. If I had it the size that I wanted, I'd have to be too exact when I laid it and stamped it and all that. So I basically want to make this a 5 by 3 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that down. Okay, so now we're going to do some fun stuff. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' masking paper. So this is real thin paper, and it's got a little sticky on it. So I am just going to punch out a circle with I'm using a 2-inch punch. And then I'm going to take the adhesive off, or the little backing off. So now I'm going to place this right in the center here. I'm going to cover my bird up because I want to make sure that he's there when we're all done. And I'm going to place it right there. Now I'm going to bring in my sponge daubers, and we're going to do a little coloring. I'm going to color right over my little information sheet here. So just before I start coloring on it, just want to make sure that you know that if you are a subscriber to my newsletter, I will email the PDF for the card that we're making right now, right to your email address. I'll do that after this video is over. And then my other special is if you spend $35 at my online store, I will send you the project sheets for all 5 of the cards that we did this week. And if you spend $50, you'll be included in my monthly thank you mailing, which is a handmade card and a sweet little embellishment. And that's just a little way of me thanking you for choosing me as being your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, because I know there are so many demonstrators out there. And I just want to say that I really appreciate you all being here to watch my Wednesday videos, and I do hope that you are enjoying them. As you notice, you probably noticed that I do fast forward through all the boring stuff, and I get right to all the fun stuff as quickly as I can to give you all the information to make as many cards and hopefully be inspired. So again, we're going to sponge daub right now. So I'm going to bring in some of the new colors. I'm trying to do a fall card, but I want to use the new colors. So I've got Timid Tiger, Cloud Cover, Darling Duckling, and I am bringing in a little bit of Cajun Craze. So again, we got that little circle right there, and I am going to start up at the top with a little bit of Blue Sky. So again, this is the Cloud Cover. So I'm just bringing in my sponge dauber, and I'm going to do a little bit off on the scrap piece first. This is a kind of a light blue, so I can kind of be a little bit, don't have to worry about it being too dark, but just in case I wanted to blot off. So now I'm going to bring in, I'm going to do this with the Darling Duckling, and it's kind of, to me, this is going to be a end of the fall day with the sun. The sun is still there, but it's starting to get a little bit dark. So we'll do a little bit of that. I like that. Maybe a little bit right here. Then we're going to bring in Timid Tiger. And I reuse my sponge daubers for, if it's orange, I use different oranges. If it's blues, I use different blues. Before I use it, I just kind of wipe off whatever was on there. So I'm going to use the Timid Tiger now. And I'm blotting that off a little bit. Then I'm going to bring in Cajun Craze. So I'm going to use that same sponge dauber. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of Mossy Meadow for the very bottom. So there's black there, but this is just going to give it maybe just a little bit of a green tinge. Okay, let's get everything out of the way and see what our card looks like so far. Okay, so I had a little hiccup in my videotaping, and I went ahead and I got all this done, but you guys didn't see it, so I want to go back and talk a little bit more about it. So the Stampin' Up! Masking tape is really nice because it's nice and thin, and it's really easy to sponge daub. That way you don't get, when it's thin, you get a nice crisp circle or whatever image it is that you masked. But what I like to do after I take that paper, that layer off, is I like to put it on my hand and kind of get that sticky off. If you're wearing a shirt or sweater, you can do the same thing. Just get some of that sticky off. Go ahead, put it on your card, do all your sponge daubing. That way it's a little bit more of a safety net when you take this off, that you're not going to mess up that pretty little image that you want to be nice and crisp and clear. So I went ahead and I layered this on a piece of black cardstock, and then I have a Cajun Craze card base. So if you are a subscriber to my newsletter, I do email out the PDF for the card that we make tonight. And then we have other cards that we made. So we used a little bit of different ink, a little bit of different paper, a little bit of different techniques. And I hope you enjoyed and got lots of ideas for using the Peaceful View stamp set. And I really appreciate y'all being with me here on Wednesday evenings. If you're watching me on replay, go ahead and type in the comment replay. I like to know who's watching me and where you're watching me from. I always find that so interesting. And if you do like my videos, go ahead, leave me a comment and share it with your friends. That does help my YouTube channel grow. And until next time, don't be shy, stamp and shout.